Hi, Tile at Inner Fidelity here. Today we're going to talk about something kind of weird, bone conduction headphones. We'll talk about the TEAC HP-F100 Filltune magnetostrictive bone conduction headphone, which is now discontinued unfortunately, and the new AfterShokz bone conduction headphone. Bone conduction audio is basically, if you tap your cheekbone like that, you'll hear it. And you hear it not because it's going through your ear canal and to your eardrum, but you hear it because the vibration in your skull is wiggling the little bones in your ear, which in turn will wiggle the entryway to your cochlea on your inner ear, and you'll be able to hear it. There are a few applications for this type of technology for people who have problems with their eardrum and middle ear. They can sometimes use headphones like these, but more often implants, transducers that are mounted directly to the bones of their skull, which are attached to a microphone on their person, and then they can it vibrates their skull when they are exposed to some sound, and they can hear it. So it's a really good way for some people with hearing loss to regain some hearing. But there's also some other pretty cool applications. There are swim earphones that attach to your goggles and have a little flash memory in it, and you can load it up with some tunes and you can listen to music underwater. There's also a company that makes buoys that transmit short-range FM audio signals to these same or very similar type of bone conduction earphones that you can mount to goggles underwater. And by placing these buoys in various places on a reef, you can have guided tours. In other words, somebody sets up a series of these buoys, and then you swim around and listen to the various broadcasts that each buoy is making, so that you can be told about shipwrecks or reefs or certain types of fish or whatever. So that's pretty cool. The deadly application for this stuff is for military and law enforcement tactical teams. These types of transducers don't make any noise externally, but you're able to hear, and so they have military headsets that are like this, and then microphones that are mounted right onto your Adam's apple, and they use them like walkie-talkies, and the Adam's apple microphones can pick up the faintest whisper that you make, and tactical team members can talk to each other without making any noise. And the other advantage, of course, is that because these types of headphones are made to press against your cheekbones, you still have the normal opening of your ear, so these tactical teams can hear what's going on around them while communicating. So it's very effective in that way. In this case, for the AfterShokz anyway, it has been advertised as a great thing for people who are exercising, so that when they put this headphone on, and it mounts like this, so it's right on the bone of your ear here. When they put the headphones on, they can listen to their music and not be shut away from the sound around them. So runners and people outdoors can remain aware of traffic noise and things like that while they're listening. Now, there's a problem with that, and the problem is that there's a thing called unintentional blindness, which is that if you're focusing on the music, you can have a car horn go off, and if it's not really loud, you won't be able to hear it because you're not paying attention to it. So this phenomena called unintentional blindness prevents people from hearing stuff even if it's there to be heard. So listening to music and focusing on the music will prevent you from hearing stuff, and it still remains dangerous when you're running around. And this is not a small matter. I tell you, I get news feeds every week, and when I look at them, I would say probably 2 or 3 times a month, somebody gets killed by a train because they're wearing headphones. Not to mention the number of people that are getting killed and hurt and injured in traffic accidents while they're listening to headphones. But trains, and I don't get it. But at any rate, these headphones are not going to necessarily solve the problem, because it's your inattention, not your ability to hear, that's the problem. So I strongly caution you against wearing headphones and stuff like that out in places where you're being exposed to traffic, and if you do, be very, very careful. Now to sound quality. These the TEAC HP-F100 bone conduction headphone is no longer available, but I called TEAC and they did have a pair to send me. These operate on a magnetostrictive principle. What that means is there's a magnetic system in here that puts out a modulated magnetic field. Water has an oxygen molecule, or oxygen atom, and 2 hydrogen atoms, but the hydrogen atoms aren't exactly on opposite sides of the water, and they have an electrical potential, and therefore a water molecule actually has an electrical polarity to it. It has one side is more positive and one side is more negative, and because of that electrical polarity, they can be affected by a magnetic field. Now, it's just not water, of course, but there's a lot of water in your head. But any molecule that has an electrical potential across it can be affected by a magnetic field. And so when you put these on and you put them in the right position, they cause some vibration in the material itself. So the material of your bone and skin and muscles and so on and so forth get pushed around by this magnetic field, and that causes the vibration in your skull that can be heard. The thing that was really surprising about this magnetostrictive technology is you would expect the sound to be muffled when it got to your ears, but I found exactly the opposite. It was the high frequencies that were quite apparent, and the bass and low frequencies weren't so good. So the fidelity on these headphones was not very good, but certainly the intelligibility was very, very good, and I can see how the military tactical teams would use these types of transducers for communications, because it worked very, very well. I was really surprised how well these worked, and frankly, it's kind of sad these are no longer available, because for people with high frequency hearing loss, it may be possible to help some with a device like this. If it was attached to a microphone. Of course, a lot of high-frequency hearing loss is in the inner ear, and that wouldn't help in that way. But at any rate, this was a pretty cool device, and I thought it worked surprisingly well. The AfterShokz work on a different principle entirely. These have little, well, they're like speakers, except instead of having a speaker cone, it's just a little solenoid, a little slug that gets moved back and forth by the magnetic field, and then creates a vibration that gets transferred to your cheekbone. The problem I had was that in this case it was quite muffled, and the fidelity was not very good. If you tried to turn the bass up, you could feel the vibration against the skin of your ears. It was like 2 butterflies were wrestling on the side of your face. I felt the sound quality was really poor, and I really can't recommend these headphones for anything. Because they really don't solve inattentional blindness, and because the fidelity is so poor, I think this is really a solution looking for a problem, and it doesn't really address the desire to have good fidelity music while you're exercising. So I don't recommend these headphones. For people who are wanting to have a pair of headphones to use while exercising, I would recommend the COS Porta Pro. This is a small earpad microphone, or sorry, earpad headphones. Earpad headphones do not seal you away from outside sound, so you will still be able to hear outside sound while you wear a small, lightweight earpad open headphone like the COS Porta Pro. And it doesn't solve the inattentional blindness. So when you listen to music and you're exercising and you're out in traffic and stuff like that, you need to be aware that you need to be aware, and turn the sound down as well. You know, keep it at a reasonable level so that you can hear the acoustic cues around you, and be very, very careful. All right, so the bone phone. This thing is likely to go the way of the bone phone. And we'll see you next time.